Welcome back to It Was Never a Face Cards. In this Pokemon Market update, we're going to be talking mostly about cards that have been shooting up in value, a few that you may need to watch out for and be wary of, and then we're also going to talk towards the back half on some that have been seeing some big declines. Let's just jump straight into it. We have to start off with a few cards from Crown Zenith, and then we're going to actually move into some celebrations and then actually some XY evolutions, believe it or not. But we're going to start off first with this Deoxys card. Now, this is one of those ones just to be a little wary of. And I like this card, right? I think it's a great card. It looks great. It's super fun. But just to be careful, there's been some buyouts on this card. You can see right here, October 30th, 79 copies sold, 123 on November 1st, and then another 48 on November 4th, getting that supply down, shooting this card up 43%. So just be a little wary when you see stuff like this. Not that this isn't a nice card, but when you zoom out and look like kind of what's happening right now, this shoots it up to an all-time high. It still was up very massive before, but now it's up 326%. So current market's around $17. It was as high as like 20, and the lowest listeds are around 12, 13, and then it shoots up. So just be careful with stuff like this. Not that it's not a nice card. It's a good looking card from Crown Zenith, a great set. But just be a little wary. I just wanted to point out that that looks like some buyout manipulation or buyout speculation, however you want to look at it, on the Deoxys. This is number GG12. And then another one from Crown Zenith, we do have the Latios. This is number GG20. Another nice looking card. And you can see a big spike, right? Up 24, almost 25% just in the past month alone, with some big sales right here. November 4th, 105 copies sold. And then the next day, 59 copies sold. And then November 7th, 55 copies sold. So that's why the supply on this card is a lot lower. Only 74 copies currently available. That shot it up to around $20, which is what the current market price is right now. But you look at the most recent sale, you're seeing $13. Lowest listed, there's only two, right? 13 and 12, and then it goes up to 20. So another one just to be a little cautious of, right? This is a nice looking card. I do like this card, but just be careful with this big jump from $10 to 20 just in like a few days. Be a little wary of that. most of the time, these cards, and it might hold some more additional value, but it's not saying that it's necessarily going to go all the way back down to 10, but just be careful buying at 20, right? So if you look at the 1 year, this card's up very massive, 668% a year ago. So it's a $2 card. Obviously, undervalued at $2. It's much better than a $2 card, but I think it's not quite as good as a $20 card currently. So two little buyout situations on TCG Player just to make you guys aware of. Probably avoid those if you haven't picked up those cards already. Next up, let's talk about some fun stuff from Celebrations. This is the Birthday Pikachu, number 24 out of 53 from Celebrations. You can see with the Celebrations stamp there. This one's up 66% in the past 3 months and 24% just in the past month. So this card has been going up in value. You can see it's at $32 right now. And there's a lot of copies, actually, 170 copies currently on TCG Player. If you zoom out on the 1 year, 349%. A year ago, this was a $7 card. So we're at an all-time high on the Birthday Pikachu, which, I love the reprint of this card. I like the idea, that you were supposed to write in your name on the card back in the day when they did the original promo. But super fun card. It does look great. It still holds up. I think there's going to be a lot of room still for Celebrations. A lot of stuff's going to be happening as we're getting closer and closer to February, which is going to be the 30th anniversary. And that is going to be an absolutely big deal. So, Celebration's not surprised to see that happening. Lowest listeds on this card, though, it's only one. There's one at $23, and then it goes down to $28. So we may be seeing a little bit of a dip on this card into the future. Once again, there's a lot of copies still available right here, right? 170 copies. So looks like maybe dipping after hitting this all-time high. That's not really to be surprised either, but worth mentioning is the Birthday Pikachu. Next up is another Pikachu. It's not the biggest dollar gain. This is more of a percentage gain, but also worth noting is the Surfing Pikachu VMAX. Once again, this is from Celebrations number 009. It's up 84% in the past 3 months. You can see a big spike right here. And be careful, once again, you can see, look how many copies sold right here. And this is another one to be cautious of. On November 6th, 222 copies sold, and there's still 213 copies available. But that is what drove this price up from $5 up to $7. So not the craziest from this buyout, and it's not going to be the craziest value card, but percentage-wise, it has performed well even up until this point, 400% on the year. A year ago, this was $1.38 card, and now it's at $6-7. Lowest listeds are holding kind of around that price, $6.45, $6. So this is going to be interesting with a lot of these cards, even these like super common ones from Celebrations. What's going to really happen with these cards moving into that 30th? There's obviously a lot of speculation. People are doing a lot of speculative buying. So there's definitely some room for that to happen. I don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, but I'm going to keep my eye on it. I'll keep you guys updated too. Make sure you stay subscribed with notifications on, because we will be talking about Celebrations a lot more as we get closer to that 30th and once we learn more about it as well. I also wanted to touch on some sealed product from Celebrations just as a little bit of an update. This is the Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection, and this box has just chugged. It's continued to chug up. Growth has slowed down a little bit since August, but it's still moving up. Like, look how it's just steadily climbing. Only 25% growth in the past 3 months, and like 3.5, almost 4% in the past month. But this box is creeping up on the $1,000 mark. Current market price is $905. A year ago, this was a $400 box. It did dip to $380, and then since then it was slowly climbing until about July. July is when it really started to accelerate some of that growth. So we're seeing Celebrations UPCs approach that $1,000 mark. They're definitely going to hit it at some point. It's just a matter of time. Lowest listeds are, looks like $890 and up, and then $900 and up from there. So Celebrations UPCs continuing to perform well. Before we go any further, I did want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is Shiny. If you have any of these cards in this video that we've talked about in this video, and you need to be adding them to your Shiny app. Shiny is a completely free to use app where you can track all of your collection. Pokemon, One Piece, Lorcana, any TCG, you can throw it in there, sealed, graded, raw, anything that you have. It's going to have the most accurate and up-to-date prices for your cards with some great graphs, so you can know exactly how much your collection is worth. And right now, the market has been moving so fast. Things were going up for so long. Now things are starting to go down, and it's important to know what cards are going up, what cards are going down. And the best way to do that is Shiny. Like I mentioned, it is completely free. There will be a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. You don't have to take my word for it. They have 4.9 out of 5 stars with over 1,200 reviews on the Apple App Store, with a ton more on the Google Play Store as well. So make sure you check out Shiny. There will be a link in the description. It's a great way to track your collection. Now let's jump back to Celebrations. Another product I wanted to spotlight here for some sealed stuff, since we're not covering a ton of sealed in this video. This is the Lance's Charizard V Celebrations box. It's a decent little box. I do like this box a lot. It's up 24, almost 25% in the past 3 months. Maybe a little bit slower of a grower, honestly, overall, but still continuing to climb, right? Currently around 97. This is an interesting one because listed median is about $120. I believe that it's going to, once again, a lot of this stuff's going to be helped by getting closer to that 30th, and then like that around the corner, people will go crazy for this stuff, I think. But it's right around the corner of cracking $100 and then probably continuing to grow, even in a down market. Maybe I shouldn't say down market. Even in a correcting market, right? There's a lot of correcting happen because there was so much explosive gains. But this product is continuing, like the UPC, just to chug up and up and up. It's got some good promos, obviously good packs as well. If you look at it on the 1-year chart, it's just been very steady growth, 149% on the year. A year ago, you could have had this box for $38. So the listed median at 120 is a good indicator. This is probably going to continue to uptick. Just may take a little bit more time to get there. And then next up is the Celebrations ETB. Now this is one that's actually dropped, right? However, you can see the listed median price is still really high, right? We have listed median at $300. Current market's at $233, and it did drop from, we were at $257, $263 was the high in August, and it's dropped down. It's lost $30 in value from there, $260 down to $230. This one's going to be coming back up. It will bounce back. So it hasn't really dropped like too much, but just keep in mind, it will probably be moving up into the future. The 1-year chart's looking pretty good as well, 168% growth. A year ago, you could have had these for in the $80 range for an ETB. So at a decent price, all things considered, a lot, kind of on a little bit of a sale from where it was at, right? 260 to 230, $30 off. Lowest listeds are pretty much right there in the 230 and up range on TCG Player. Now let's jump over and let's talk about some XY evolutions just for a second. I got to talk about my boy Gyarados, my favorite Pokemon. Now, this is the holo. There's a reverse holo. If you're not familiar with evolutions, right now we're just looking at the regular holo foil. Obviously, this is a reprint of base set, and this isn't a big dollar card, right? But percentage-wise, we have been seeing this Gyarados make some pretty good gains, right? $7.57. 700, yeah, right. $7.57 currently. Like I said, almost 60% in the past 3 months. Over 120 copies currently on TCG Player. If you zoom out on the 1 year, 138% growth, with a lot of that coming very recently. Looks like the 1 year lows on this card were around $3. So it's not, once again, it's not that crazy. This is definitely a percentage gain, but up to 757 right now. Lowest listeds for a holo foil near mint are kind of a little bit lower than that current market price of 757, kind of in that $6 range. It looks like with shipping here. So that's currently where we're at. This card may be seeing a little bit of a dip after some of that explosive growth. And that, once again, is not surprising. But Gyarados, I just have to mention anytime I can. Gyarados from Evolutions. There's a few other cards from Evolutions moving as well. Nothing really like absolutely crazy, but this is the Pidgeot full art number 104. It's up 25% in the past 3 months, so a decent little gain. Once again, not a dollar gainer. This is more of a percentage thing. If you zoom out on the 1 year, we can see that this card's up 128%. A year ago, $4 card. Now we're at $8. Lowest listeds are all right there, $8 and up. So some pretty healthy, pretty steady growth on the Pidgeot. Nothing too crazy, but some of these, a lot of people are coming back to, I think, and liking some of these older full art style cards. It really can depend. I feel like it depends on the card, but some of them have been kind of aging pretty good. And, you know, nice little cheap card to add to your collection if you're wanting to pick up something, you know, from the XY era. This was 2016 Evolution, so next year, you know, we're going to be at 10 years. So 10 years of this set. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from off the back of that moving forward as well. I don't know if it's going to see a crazy bump or anything, but you know, Evolutions being 10 years old is going to be a big deal. And then next up is just a nice, adorable Mew from Evolutions that I wanted to point out. Once again, right now we have it clicked on the reverse holo foil. Similar numbers, I think, on the regular holo as well. But in the last 3 months, this one actually has shot up pretty massive. 104, almost 105% just in the past 3 months, going from a $7 card. It hit 16. It's come down a little. Now it's currently in the 15s. Lowest listeds are right there, $14.95, $15 essentially. And if you zoom out on the 1 year, 314% growth on this card. A year ago, this was a $4 card. Once again, I do like from Evolutions that you can get the reverse, you can get the holo on most of these cards. So, you know, it wasn't till looks like September, late August, early September is when most of this growth started happening on this Mew. This is number 53 out of 108, by the way. So yeah, some pretty good growth on another Evolutions card. Super adorable Mew. I think this is another one between the Gyarados, the Pidgeot, all the ones that we've mentioned. I think all of the PSA 10s are very, very low pop. I think, you know, the print quality was not very good for Evolution. So PSA 10s very expensive and very scarce for all of these cards in both reverse holo and regular holo patterns. Next up is just a few cards I wanted to mention. We're going to go back to Celebrations because now we're in kind of the section of a few cards that have dropped pretty big. These cards are kind of going on sale, like kind of what we're seeing from a lot of the cards in the market currently. This is the Mew number 025 from Celebrations. You can see down 16% in the past month, but if you zoom out to see the better picture, this card has dropped around $20. It was around 65 right here earlier in September, and now it's around 47. Lowest listeds, there's one much lower than that, only one listing at 35. Then it goes up to 40, 43, 44. So around a $20 drop on this card. And if you zoom out on the 1 year, you can see that is the 1 year high. A year ago, a $20 card, and then that peak right there at around 65. There were obviously some sales that were higher during this period as well. You can see as low as 48, as high as 89. So some pretty big drops on this card. Still up massive though. A lot of the pretty much all of the cards that you're seeing when we're seeing big retracements, you zoom out to the 1 year, they're all usually still up pretty big. So this Mew still pretty healthy on the 1 year, giving back a lot of that gain, but still looking pretty solid overall. But if you were trying to target this card, at this peak, it's kind of on sale right now compared to that. Next up, another one that's done a very similar thing is the Rayquaza here, number 76 out of 108. You can see the stamped right here from Celebrations. This one's been hit pretty hard, 26% down in the past month. Currently around $41, 180 copies listed. If you zoom out, well, that is not accurate. Looks like it was as high as $63 right here down to 40, so over a $20 drop on this card as well. Yeah, the 6 month and the 1 year chart are kind of bugged, so that is not working. It's still showing it at that peak of 63. I hate it. TCG player charts are kind of all over the place sometimes, but we can still see it on the 3 month either way. And just for comparison, on the 1 year, it was a $12 card a year ago, and so a $20 drop on this card. Obviously, it was very expensive in the 60s. Now, currently in the 40s, lowest listed's all right there in the lower 40s for the Rayquaza. And then another Mew from the set. This is number 88 out of 92 from Celebrations. This card's down almost 30% just in the past month alone. Back here it was $21. It dipped to 13 and popped back up a little bit into the 14s. Another card that just has really high supply. 316 copies. So supply and demand not benefiting this big run up that this card had. A year ago, $3 card, shot up to an all-time high of 25, and then obviously came down pretty hard off of that. There's just too many copies, right? It can't really sustain this big price jump when there's just too many people selling it. Lowest listed's all around the $13 and $14 range on this card. And then the last one that I wanted to mention, it hasn't dropped quite as much, but if we're going to talk about Celebrations, we should probably talk about the big dog Charizard, the reprint, from the base set, number 4 out of 102 with the stamp on here. It's not down as crazy in the past month, 5%. You can see it dropped down to 128 and then popped back up a little bit into the 130s. But if we zoom out, you can see this card was at a high of $143, $144 back here in September. A year ago, $77. So it went from, almost a year, 70 to 140, and then it's dropped a little bit. So this card's still looking pretty good, all things considered, even at 130. Lowest listed in the 120s, and then it goes back up into the 130s. So the Celebrations Charizard's looking pretty good overall. 68% on the 1 year isn't as good as a lot of the cards that we've seen in the past, but, because a lot of that growth really coming more recently, but still looking pretty decent overall is the Charizard there. So that is the market update for you guys. It was a interesting little list. We bounced around between a few different sets, covered a little bit of sealed. There's not really a ton of sealed stuff happening at the moment. So that's kind of why, I want to try and throw it in when I can, since the market is kind of correcting and slowing down a little bit. I think we're really getting ramped up. There's going to be some very, very, very exciting stuff coming end of this year and obviously beginning of next year between all of the mega sets and then the new whatever the 30th anniversary is going to be. It's going to be absolutely crazy. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to enter the Phantasmal Flames giveaway, we're giving away a ton of Phantasmal Flame stuff. There'll be a video popping up here. You guys want to check that out. There'll also be a link in the description if you want to check that out there. But thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And remember, it was never a phase.